Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee? The Son of Man must be delivered over to the hands of sinners, be crucified, and on the third day be raised again. Then they remembered his words.
Jesus was crucified on the day before the Jewish Sabbath. The Sabbath day was a day when people were to rest and to worship God. A man named Joseph from a town called Arimathea went to Pilate, the Roman governor, and asked for permission to take Jesus' body down from the cross. He did so, and Jesus' body was wrapped in linen cloth and placed into a tomb cut somewhere into the rock around Jerusalem. As was the tradition, some of the women who had followed Jesus had prepared different spices and perfumes for Jesus' body, but they didn't apply them because the sun was going down and the Sabbath day of rest was about to begin. The day after the Sabbath, however, the women went to the tomb with everything that they had prepared. Matthew's Gospel, Matthew's eyewitness testimony tells us that there was a violent earthquake, and an angel, one of God's messengers, rolled away the stone that covered the entrance to the tomb, revealing inside that Jesus' body was no longer there. Inside the tomb were more messengers. Some of the Gospels describe the messengers as a man or men with a gleaming appearance. Others just describe the messengers as an angel or angels. Their message is that Jesus is no longer in a tomb for the dead because he has risen. John's account of Jesus' life tells us that one of his followers, a woman named Mary, began to cry. Jesus was her teacher and her Lord, and his body was gone. She didn't know where he was or what she was supposed to do next. It's at that moment that someone standing nearby asks her why she's crying. Now Mary thinks it's the gardener, but when he speaks her name, Mary, she suddenly realises that it's Jesus. He's alive. When one of Jesus' future followers, a man named Paul, sat down to write a letter to the Christians in the ancient city of Corinth, he wanted them to know how certain he was of Jesus' resurrection, and he wanted them to know that they could verify it for themselves. Here's what Paul writes. He appeared to more than 500 of the brothers and sisters at the same time, most of whom are living, though some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James, then to all the apostles, and last of all, he appeared to me also. This wasn't an apparition of Jesus or some copy of Jesus. This was the very same Jesus who just 2 days before had died on the cross. There's a poet called John Updike who wrote a poem about the resurrection in the 1960s. And in it, Updike begs us not to sanitize the account of Jesus' resurrection or to make it anything less than it actually is. He writes, "Make no mistake, if he rose at all, it was as his body." Updike describes it using phrases like the cell's dissolution reversing, the molecules reknitting, the amino acids rekindling. A heart that had stopped beating began to beat again. Lungs that had stopped breathing were breathing once again. Jesus is alive. We're to see this as concrete evidence that Jesus is God. There's nothing that holds dominion over our great King, even death itself. Jesus is alive, and he is worth following.